Right, here we are. Uh, 3 weeks later, the summit, Open Security Summit 2020 is coming to an end. We are on the final session, the virtual pub, and we're catching a drink and just enjoying the fact that we completed a really amazing and spectacular summit. For me, the best part is is going from an idea from some crazy concepts that we were brainstorming months ago, and then see them become reality, and see the amount that people learned, the amount that was shared, the fact that we've moved the needle on a lot of projects, a lot of open source content and Creative Commons that was released. And for me personally, the best part is I was able to participate in amazing sessions, right? The summit is my favorite event of the year, is where I learn the most, where I collaborate the most, where I meet amazing new individuals, make new friends, make new connections. So it is very special for me, and it's great to be part of it. And thanks to everybody that was involved, that participated. And actually, I do have to have a special mention to Didar, which is going to go next, because she really was a massive rock at the summit this year. And of course, there's lots of people that help, but that she went out of her way and she made a massive difference. So over to you, Didar. So you can pass to the next one. We can do this. You just pass. Everybody passes along to the next one.
No repeats.
Yeah, go on. Didar, some words of wisdom from you.
Well, I was cheeky. I got involved to get the most of what I wanted from the summit, and I feel much more equipped than 3 weeks ago now, because the schedule was so much suitable for my needs to grow and develop as a professional. I learned a lot. Yeah, it was long hours, but it's all worth it. It was all worth it, and I really can't express enough the whole team and all the organizers and the participants. I made friends in the summit, even though we weren't face-to-face in the same room. I still managed to make many friends and connections. Thank you for the opportunity. Alona.
Didar, you're always choosing me as the first. The last time I'm also the first. All right, so I really thank everyone for having me on this summit, and it was really an experience, my first time. And yeah, as what Didar has said, we made friends, and it was really fun. I'm going to miss this every day. When I wake up, I'm going to look up, I'm going to check if, well, I don't know how to say it, but I'm going to miss it. I feel like I want to cry because every morning I'm really looking at the sessions, and yeah, and I'm going to miss it every day. That we're going to end it, and looking forward to having more summits with all of you guys. That's it.
Right, who do you pass the bucket to?
Let's go with Volby.
Volby.
Hi.
Open your face.
I was able to somewhat get over some of my imposter syndrome and realize I was actually a pretty good imposter. I was going for a wallaby. I don't know. But CDR and Secure by Scenario are two amazing things that I'm interested in now and wanting to kind of follow up with what Glasswall is doing, and continue making this card game that that we're all working on. They're really exciting outcomes, and yeah, I really appreciate what you guys have put together.
Well, thank you. We couldn't have done it without you guys.
Yeah, we should unmask him.
We'll go with Ben.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to doing some more control mapping, getting the risks sorted, and secure by scenario. So lots to do for next year.
Yeah, lots of people are relying on your control mapping. We've been referencing it everywhere.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so only 4 people turned up to the real event, but hey ho. So.
But it's a good example of something we moved the needle, right? We've been talking about it for a while, and now you open sourced it. We can now start to use it. We can start to really take it to the next level.
So graphing next week. Everyone look out for that. Alona, you can wake up in the morning and look at the graphing of the control mapping. Who's next?
Great. Great.
Yeah, I have to say, against my expectations, I've really enjoyed the last 3 weeks, and I say that because I'm actually not a security professional, but I've learned so much over the time to doing here, and there's so much there, and I think it's a fantastic community. And I would say to anybody who's watching this, even if you're not a security professional, come along to the next editions, find some of the other virtual events that are going on. It's actually a really good place to come and learn about things that actually can influence you, because I've really noticed that a lot of the problems that the security guys are going through are really relevant for other parts of the IT industry. So, you know, I've really picked up a lot from it. Looking forward to some of the other projects that we're going to keep going on, looking at the getting some of the security games going and some of the other stuff we can do with some of the other CDR vendors that we've talked to. That's been a real eye-opener. So, but yeah, a really fantastic 3 weeks.
Oh.
Thank you. And we really need that different perspective from people outside of security. Otherwise, we're just going to talk between us and it's not going to get anywhere. Next up is... I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's just saying, yeah, it's that so a lot of the sessions I've been to, it's been that, yeah, you've got exactly the same problems I have in my domain. You know, it's really quite striking.
Kudos. Yeah. Next up is another star. I think she has now fans of her own. Petra.
So I just want to say this is my first summit and my first deep dive into the cyber security community. And I must say, it's an amazing community. It's so much more than I've expected. I met some of the most interesting, smart people in the world here. There were some really stimulating discussions. I learned a lot. I'm gonna take up more, of threat modeling, and I've learned a lot more about CDR, which is kind of brought me a lot of more inspiration to, dive into my dissertation now that after the summit is over. So I also must say thank you so much for the ladies of the summit. Didar, who's done like a great job, and annoyed her with asking for Zoom links all the time. I do apologize about that, but
you were the only one.
And then, Alona with the enthusiasm, and Tatovic with her, structure of everything and organization. I mean, you contributed so much to the summit, and it's such a great environment to learn and to grow. And I'm so looking forward to meeting all these people live next year.
Or sooner.
Or sooner, even better.
Yeah.
Sooner better.
And I also appreciate for everyone for giving me a platform to express some of my own ideas and bring my own thoughts to the table. And I really think this is such a great environment for that. And I do appreciate it.
Thank you for that. Let's move on to Tato.
You pronounce very nice, Tato. I like it. So yes, for me, actually, I would never imagine that I will be part of organizers in the summit, because I'm so much nervous all the time that I need to speak in public, and I just somehow not find the words when it is needed. So this was great opportunity for me. And of course, I met a lot of nice people. First, my day started with OWASP session, which was really great, and then it continued. But I really didn't imagine that I will be leading the sessions or hosting. This was somehow for me something really I would never imagine. It was now each day I wake up and I'm checking my sessions and looking forward that I will not miss it. And 10 times a day I was checking that I would not somehow confuse the times, even from mobile when I'm outside. But on the other hand, I think my children missing me because I was so much full of summit that I haven't seen them for this at least last 2 weeks much.
Now
So
they get their
tomorrow I will see how they have grown up for these 2 weeks.
And that Vic did great. I have to say, I did something that I've done a couple of times where, you know, I'm at the session, then a couple of days before I go, by the way, can you deliver that one? But it works, right? It works because, you know, you're raised to the occasion and you learn a lot. Sometimes if I told you 2 weeks before that you're doing it, you freak out too much. So sometimes it's better to just,
Yeah. For example, that Jira and Jira session, I knew in the morning that I need to do afternoon session, and I was, oh my God.
You did
So
great.
everything was amazing.
See?
That was good.
Thank you, everyone. And really, I think participants, as our speakers, organizers, everyone was really great and supportive. If there was not their support, I wouldn't really be able to go out of that complex that I have. But they helped me to go out and even do better and better. So, and I learned from a lot of sessions. I was going to the session with no actually much knowledge about it and going out with a lot of information how to digest. So thank you.
That's what the
just
summit's all
summed up
about.
the summit.
Exactly. That's what the summit's all about.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Adam. We have 2 Adams. I don't know which one to look at.
Yes, I'm the boat. Hello, everyone. Good evening from here. Thank you so much for the opportunity to join this summit. I'm so grateful to all the organizing committee or the team from Denise, Dida, Alona, Tatfi, Petra, and everybody. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be part of this summit. It's my first summit, and I've learned a lot of things because this is like my first time of being exposed to security summit. I don't really know much about cybersecurity before, but now I've gotten like so much knowledge about cybersecurity. I was still currently into digital marketing, but I'm also considering a career in cybersecurity in the future. And also, one of the things that really stood out for me in the summit is also, before the summit, I don't really know much about video editing, but now after the summit, I can confidently add that, okay, I'm now a video editor. I can add video editing to my skill. So I'm so grateful for that as well. So I would like to appreciate everybody for putting this together and for making this to be a success. Thank you so much, everyone.
You saved us so many times during the summit. We kept throwing you, Adam, 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 we need this, we need that. Thank you so much for being there.
You did great, man. And you kept tweeting. I love your messages and the enthusiasm on the tweet stuff. Really good stuff.
Andre?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Andre?
Hi, guys. It was a privilege, and I really mean that. I don't remember exactly how I got to the summit. I know it was through LinkedIn, and it was somebody that I was following. I'm not sure if it was Denise or not, because I know that I followed him before. But it's great for me. Like I have I have theory of how cybersecurity is supposed to work. But the bit that I fell in love always is to actually hear practitioners discuss it, and the openness that I actually saw from the panels of allowing somebody like me to actually contribute with ideas, no matter how dumb or innocent they were. It really mattered. And I thank you all for that, because I am learning. I have not worked in cybersecurity yet. I haven't been a developer for more than 20 years now. And I do apologize for not actually being on camera, but I am full of paint and it's all over my body because I do have construction work in the house, and that is no joke. So I am a bit like the dog on the left, and I do apologize for that. It was great, and I would love to attend the next one as well. Thank you so much.
Thank
Come
you
on,
for
we
all
realize how much we're all making this up as we go along, right? It's like,
Right, Dennis, I didn't get that.
One page ahead in the manual.
exactly, you know.
Andre, till next year, you should finish construction so that you visit Summit physically.
But Vic, I would hope so, because I'm really tired of this now.
Okay, we move on to another Summit veteran, Felipe.
Hey.
Hey,
How many, Felipe? How many summits, Felipe?
it's my fourth summit.
Yeah.
Hey,
Felipe is another one that I think the first time I met you, it was the thing when I asked you, can you come with me, right? In the car, right?
yeah.
So I
crazy.
met him. And actually it was the beginning when we were doing the site and there was a bunch of problems. And it's like, oh, you can code, cool. Can you come with me for a little bit? So we literally, in the laptop, I actually had to come to my house actually to see a play from one of my kids, right? Because I had promised that. So we drove from Center Parks, Felipe coding, and I park him in Cafe Nero, go and do the family thing, come back. Well, we're coding on the Hugo website. Jekyll website, right?
Yeah, I would like to add that it was after a 18 hours flight because I went from my home. Yeah, I landed in Heathrow, and after then to the site. And when I just met Dennis, okay, I'm here. Let's do this.
What can I do to help?
We need to go back from where you come. So it was like a never-ending trip. It was so crazy and good. And I was in M4 coding. It's crazy. It was, yeah.
But that's why I know
that's
Felipe
the
is a
moment that
great
you
guy.
say, yeah, this is great. This is gonna be great.
Basically, you were kidnapped to code.
That's a
It was
very
so
strong
funny.
word.
I bet
Yeah, but
beard was like not as gray back then.
no, yeah. I didn't have a beard. I grew my beard later, 2 years ago, more or less.
Apologies,
But
guys. I dropped, by the way. See you next summit. Speak before.
See you
Cheers.
next summit, Ben.
Bye.
Thank you.
I would like to thank Dennis about, putting out all this effort, all the Glasswall team, all the team. You guys have done an amazing job for sure. This time, kind of not being on site, like the time zone kills me a bit for all the sessions and stuff. But that's my problem because I'm not in the same time zone. So that's you cannot escape time zone.
I do miss it.
thing
I have
that-
to say, there's some things are good virtual, but there's definitely a couple.
Yeah. And the other thing is that, as Dennis said, it's like being on site is like from 8 in the morning to 2 a.m. It's like the whole day and half of the night. It's just you just talk security, you learn, you discuss, you drive, I don't know, you do everything. It's like a never-ending day of learning about security and stuff and people and the openness, and the summit is great for that. And I can't stop being on the summit. It's like yeah.
Yeah, but Felipe deserves a lot
So
of the credit for the website that we have, right? Which actually is coming out really nicely, and I think and especially think this year we had a little bit of more design. It's coming out really amazingly, and continuous deployment. Work really smooth, really cool stuff.
really cool stuff. Yeah.
Thank you, Felipe, for being so accommodating as well with the time zone. Oleg, shall we move on to you? You're on mute.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I can't tell too much, as other guys, because this is my first experience, and I did not expect it. I was in such kind of working with this for me, this first time experience at all. Yes, I have to maybe more time to analyze on. But anyway, it was a great experience working with such unusual constellations. No, no, of course, I was early. I was working as freelancer, as pure freelancer, and to me, it's not great challenge working 70 hours per week. It's just okay to me, yeah. But
in the beginning,
what I want to say,
Oleg had just to integrate all the design and everything just to put together. So yes, Oleg, he was one of the people who was maintaining our website. So thank you, Oleg. Yes, you did great job. I think just quickly coming into the place and doing what needed.
yes, it was a great challenge working without to be manageable. Yeah, I'm expecting to be manageable, but in this case, I have to select job myself, and I know that I have select so that it can be acceptable by other guys of the team. This was my great challenge, because Dennis was totally busy with other things, and I understood that he can't find, he can't help, and I have to guess myself. Yeah.
Guessing all the time.
I hope
Mind-boggling.
I did something valuable. Yeah.
No, it's great. And look, sometimes, if I'm not involved, it's because I'm not worried about it, right? It's like, if I can come in there, provide a bunch of ideas, then disappear and come back a couple of days later and they implement it, hey.
Okay, hopefully this design will be useful to the next summit.
Yeah, no, we totally use it. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then I appreciate for any feedback and for collaborative job.
Yeah, so good. No, thanks for the long hours, because you work quite a lot of hours, and I have to say that the design of the website made it super professional, right? And I think we absolutely went up several levels compared to the previous years, right? And it makes a difference, right? To attract talent and even for the future of the summit. So great work.
Okay.
I actually use the main website more than I used Hey Summit, so.
You're right.
Awesome.
And yeah, and Oleg is so right about this describing Denise. Well, yeah, like the first time I was working with Didar, I didn't know that I'm going to work on the sessions also. So I don't know anything about the GitHub. Well,
yeah, you need to improve your GitHub skills.
And you're the reason why I bought a new laptop, because you told me that my system is very slow. So the next day I bought a new laptop. And
you can always send me your old one. I'm just kidding.
He bought new laptop. Yes?
Yes.
Don't send me the bill.
For the summit. Summit laptop.
There you go. Right.
You could always send me the old one.
You won't like it.
Purge all the data beforehand.
That was the joke.
You won't
We'll go
like
to James now. James.
It is James.
There you go.
Thought I was going to get away with it. Just a big thank you. I think it was about a month ago that I dropped a message to Dido on Discord because it was mentioned on Many Hats Club, was it? Saying I'd like to help out, and then I ended up volunteering somehow to run the first session with threat modeling, which then exploded a bit into actually getting to try out an idea I've had bubbling around in the back of my head for about 8 years, which is now turning into a project with other people involved. So it's been fantastic, if only for that, except now I have quite a lot of work to do. But yeah, thank you all.
Thank you, James.
That's awesome.
So we have Tim. So what are your impressions about this year's summit? You're on mute.
Thank you. I would have loved to have been at more of it. Unfortunately, you may not know this. It was a clash this week with the academic conference Cyber Science 2020, which is the one that has last year was in Oxford University. Previous year was Glasgow, where the John Logie Baird first TV was done, and then previous year was London, and then this year was supposed to be Dublin, but of course it went virtual. And it was my first time I was giving an academic paper yesterday. So because of that, I was like switching between this and that conference, so I wasn't as fully engaged in this conference as I would have liked to have been. But it was really great to see Dennis, to see Simon Wardley. I have to say I've already used some of Simon Wardley's mapping techniques in my in some of the work I've been doing this week, so that's like really rapid deployment of new ideas. So I think this has been a fantastic conference. I really wish I'd made the threat modelling things, because when I did my masters at Royal Holloway, my dissertation was on threat modelling in 2014. So I've got a real interest in that area, and actually I did quite an extensive literature review comparing and contrasting different threat modelling techniques over the last 20 years, which I can.
You should have done a session on that.
I know. So, but anyway, we can keep the dialogue going. Actually, I can pop a link in the chat, and.
And are you on our Slack channel?
No, but I probably should be.
Yeah, you'll send the link.
Yeah. So if I'll pop my academic email address and my personal email address and the URL for the stuff I did on threat modeling back in 2014.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Congrats on your research.
Yeah.
And everything we had is on YouTube and our website.
Oh,
so
great.
you can catch up with them.
Well, what I may do as well is once I get on the Slack channel, I'll post you some of the YouTube links from the other conference that was running this week, because there's some really interesting stuff. There were 76 papers in that conference, and it was it's run by an organisation, I don't know if you've come across, the Centre for Multidisciplinary Research and Innovation and Collaboration, CMRIC. Has anyone come across them? Dr. Cyril Omobiku? Maybe not. Anyway. But yeah, there were some really good papers in there. All kinds of things like, malware reversing. They had ICANN, the people who run, they had like major people there. Yeah, so, and actually I've recommended, you don't know this, but I've already recommended you do this to be invited to their thing next year. But yeah, so that link, it's for 2014, so it's not completely up to date with current state of play. But I have to say, there's a bit of MongoDB in there, and and actually the page with I just posted it. The page with the summary literature review is, where is it? So it is.
It's a good title. The value of threat models and enterprise security testing of database system services.
Yeah. So the page table 6.1, it's got a bit of a typo on it, but the table 6.1 on page, where has it got to? 56, at the bottom of the page. That gives pretty much a summary of 20 odd different threat modeling techniques, and like compares and contrasts them, whether they're focused on attackers or requirements or design or testing or operations or impact. So it's quite a good overview of threat modeling the
I presented this, man.
Sorry.
Should have presented this. It's really cool.
Well, sorry, but I mean,
You can do
Well,
now.
so we had a bunch of tools being presented. It would be good to even get you to compare this with.
yeah, I could have done a like architecture analysis. Hey guys, you're not very good at this.
Encore. Open Security Summit Encore. There we go.
Anyway, so thanks for letting me in at last minute. I have to say, one thing I'm very proud of is of my trip to Barnard Castle. Do you know about this? Do you know about this? This is the special celebration Barnard Castle eye test.
No way!
From Brutok, hazy. Yeah. So I can recommend you get some. It's not bad. It's a nice pale ale, 6%, and
they were testing your eyesight to go and get
testing my eyesight. Yeah. So yeah, that's the reason I was a bit late on the.
It has to be said that if somebody came up with that excuse in a comedy sketch, you're almost not being funny because people go, nobody's going to use that in the real world, right?
Yeah, but do you know though that it's local slang for a lame excuse? For 150 years, a Barney Castle has meant lame excuse because so like any husbands who are a bit late back or whatever, you're not saying you've been to Barnard Castle, are you? Again, it's been a lame excuse for 150 years, and then he goes and scores a bullseye with that.
Now you guarantee another 100 years, right? By the way, James, I was just looking, right? Your session is the highest one in YouTube. So your
threat modeling one, is it?
People spend 28 hours watching your session.
Wow. You're on mute, James.
You're on mute, James.
It's just because it was the first one.
No, I think you did a good
first one.
Was good session. Okay, next up we have Ellen. Ellen, what were your impressions from this summit?
Oh well, I'm a newbie to the world of Open Security Summit, so thank you for welcoming me in. And I suppose I should thank Denise for talking me into not just being a participant, but getting directly involved. So thank you for that, Denise. I think it was Oleg earlier. I couldn't get to all the sessions I wanted to. I'm afraid my day job was getting in the way as well. And a bit like Tim, I was therefore dipping in and dipping out. So I don't think I got the whole experience, but I certainly wish I'd been there last year when we'd have physically been having a drink together rather than virtually. So next year, for sure. Where was I going to go? Tim, your paper that you were delivering to the summit in Dublin, what was that on this week?
No, he didn't. Tim, you're muted.
I think he said he was presenting a paper yesterday. He's somewhere else.
Yeah,
so
no, I'm here. Sorry. My paper, I'll post a link to the YouTube of it. So if you want to see it, you can. It was a rather theoretical paper. It was actually being an academic conference on the epistemology of cybersecurity. So in other words, what is the real basis of knowledge? So when do we really know things, or when are people like fabricating views of what's real? So it was a bit of a theoretical paper, but it was an end of day thing. It was in the education track. It was a bit of fun, and there's a serious aspect to it, which is that actually most cybersecurity knowledge doesn't get created in universities, and it was like a wake up call to the universities. Like, hang on, where are you getting your knowledge from? You need to be looking outside the narrow confines of academia. So it was a fun paper.
I understand that. In fact, that's the crossover actually was so I really enjoyed Simon Wardley. I mean, that's what I was intending to go to on the Wednesday this week, instead of physically being at Woburn. But beyond that, yesterday's session with Phil Huggins and Robin on their, forgive me, Petra, I'm pronouncing it wrong now, USRU. Anyway, the OISRU that needs to get a better acronym. But the content of that was fascinating, and I'm not sure who it was. Was it Greg was saying they were already using elements? So I've already referred to the Bowline risk assessment piece, and I'm intending to add the NCSC exercise in a box to something I'm pulling together for the client at the moment. So I ended up getting far more out of this week than I'd anticipated. So thank you to you all, and I have to say, hats off to Denise, to Didar, and indeed to Petra. And I'm sure there were others, but those are the three that I interacted with most. And indeed, Mario, I think, is on this call, and probably Avi. Thank you. My ears were receiving more than I'm used to of late, so thank you very much for that.
Thank you for
Were you at that Club CISO event that I presented worldly maps in 5 minutes?
Yes, that's what clued me into Wardley Maps,
Yeah.
and that's what I was looking forward to this week.
So it worked. Right. If you guys think I go fast, you should see me presenting my 50 worldly map slides to a group of CISOs in probably 10 minutes, right? But talk about flying through the slides. But look, you got you interested, right? So it worked.
Oh, absolutely. No, I'm more than interested. I'm actively intending to do something with that, and in fact, she's not on this call, but putting support to Sarah to develop what she's already done on the privacy side, because I think we have to track that, the overlaps, the complementary, etc. But I'm under pressure. 11 o'clock Friday night. Forgive me. I'm gonna drop. But I just want to say thank you to you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you for making time to join us as well here.
Yeah,
I had to do my evening constitutional after dinner, so that was my excuse for being late.
Yeah, please do thank Simon, because I've got to tell you that the Wardley Maps thing has already, like within a day of me seeing it, it's helped solve a problem that's been going on for about a communication problem that's been going on for about 3 or 4 months with a client engagement, where they weren't really understanding the maturity thing with a supplier, and I just knocked up a quick Wardley map and showed like where there was good in the supplier and where there's bad in the supplier, what was mature, what was not mature, put it in front of them. They go, oh yeah, we get it. And it's like, it was amazing, incredible.
That's a success story.
Yeah.
There's a clip to copy and then paste. Mr. Mario.
Me? Apologies, I'm late. I had to get my aunt home, but I'm back now.
So, how was it for you?
It was way too busy. I still have...
organizers. You're one of the busiest organizers. You had lots and lots of sessions.
Yeah, I keep getting myself into letting Dennis rule out 2 weeks of my life every year. I keep saying that I'm not gonna do the same thing next year, but I probably will. It was fun, but it was fun. So it had so I still have some homework to do. Not all my outcomes have actually happened, but I'll pick it up on Monday. No, it was really good fun. There was a lot of stuff, particularly on Wardley Maps. Some stuff that I had already some material, but not organized in the way that I wanted. So the coming up to the summit kind of forced me to organize all of the material that and some things I had blogged about previously, and try to consolidate everything into one. In particularly the talk today that I did on Cynefin framework was brilliant. I really enjoyed. I want to see it again. But the preparation for today's talk was because I've been talking about Wardley Maps for a long time, for about 2 years, I think, at least. But talking about Cynefin was the first time, so that was the one that I most enjoyed putting together. But
that's the way to do research, man. You throw an idea, the organizers say yes, and then a couple of weeks before the event, you do it.
Yep.
But then, your research keep moving on, right? So it's the best way to do it. Nothing like the pressure of presenting to just get your research to the next level.
And it was also the other part that was interesting on my sessions was the worldly map talk without worldly maps, worldly mapping talk without worldly maps. I particularly enjoyed putting that one together.
It's good.
So
But,
it's
yeah,
where ideas become reality.
Yeah, but it was good fun. I didn't get to attend as many sessions as I would. Even the ones that I attended, a lot of times I was so with 3 screens, I was working on one and hearing the other and kind of dipping in, etc. So yeah, I hope that next week I'm going to be able to catch up on a lot of them. There was a lot of interesting stuff that unfortunately I couldn't get to. But, yeah, well, good fun, very good fun. Not as much fun as it was face-to-face last year, but pretty good.
We need to figure out how to do the joint session, right? I think there's definitely a lot of good elements that come out of this, right? I'm not sure I like the idea of going back to just the on-site one, right? I think we need to find ways to make the remote participation, as effective as this, right? Because I think or else we lose a lot of talent and we lose a lot of things. So we have a year to make it work, right?
Yeah, I agree.
And I think
I have to say
we have some ideas on it that we're gonna discover. Well, if any ideas, we're happy to hear.
I mean, I definitely found that the remote, that because it was virtual, that actually it was much easier to just say, yeah, I can just attend this and go to this session, which I'm partially interested in. I can listen to the background, I can do a bit of work and just keep on kind of do both at the same time was really, really valuable, because sometimes I found myself, I kind of thinking I'm going to do some work, and it was actually I spend more time more attention listening to the session because it's really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Thanks. Jonathan, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, second summit for me, one on site, one virtual. Enjoyed them both. Got a huge amount out of, excuse me, both of them. So many takeaways from this week. Want to dive more into the Wardley mapping. Unfortunately, I missed Mario's session on the Cynefin framework. That's on my list to follow up on. The DevSecOps various sessions were awesome. Really enjoyed the threat modeling. Yeah, so many good sessions. Too many good sessions, arguably. But yeah, really enjoyed it. Got a huge amount out of this one. Got a huge amount out of the previous one that I attended. Definitely agree that the blending the virtual and the on-site so that we can get both would be a really good thing. The ability to, you just get more people. The one bit that I found a little bit harder, maybe it's because I haven't been on Slack as much as I should have, is some of the side conversations that happen in the corridor or track that happens at the summit when it's on site. That's hard to replicate in a virtual environment. Where you'll chat to 2 or 3 people about something in a small group and then come back. But the breakout rooms worked for that really well. So yeah.
Yeah. So the nice thing of the on-site summit, right? Especially when it's really cool when you can almost social engineer serendipity, right? There is one of my favorite moments of the summit is when you arrange who literally is with where, right? And those layouts. Because you can literally, group individuals that that they never met, but there is, especially when you have somebody more senior and a bunch of, other individuals less senior, but that they're very equivalent. And then, you see them in the first day not really gelling, and then literally by the second or third day, they're like super geeking out, right? But you're right. Yeah. And then also the evening stuff, right? Getting everybody to get in the same villa for dinner and all that jazz. Yeah. There's definitely a sweet spot there, right? That, it's going to be interesting to, that's one of the beauties of the on-site. But I think we need to find ways that when you are in a session to capture it, right? Because the other thing is that we got more materials and more outcomes out of this summit than of the other summits, because we have everything recorded, right? There's tons of sessions that now you can go back and capture that, or even edit it, right? I think there's an interesting piece of work to, sometimes you can edit some of the sessions, right? Because you don't need, there's sometimes dead moments, but we have so many great nuggets, right? That you can just grab, and some, like, there's some like 10 minutes clips that you go, wow, this is just a freaking masterclass, right? So that person totally nailed that concept, right? Like Mario, we need to break that into 10 different ones, right? Because there's parts of it that it's just brilliant, right?
Yeah, that's one of the things I really want to do in the next week, is go to the one that I did on worldly mapping without worldly maps, and take out sections of each of the problems that I talked about. So I talked about 4 problems in cybersecurity in that session, and I want to make a clip per problem.
So by the way, look, the site is there, right? Like we should continue to put stuff on the side. We should continue to put pages on the side. I know, Dida, you asked for a search engine, right? Which is, fair enough, right? Philippe just left, just in time not to hear that one, right? But look, the site is there, right? And I think, there's a lot of topics here that we should be leveraging the community, and we should be continuing, the amazing work that started, right? And I think this year we create more materials that it's easy to continue in a month from now, in 2 months from now. I think the problem with previous summits, there was a massive drop, right? Literally, after the summit, the materials were now some decks, and it was harder to follow up. So I think let's see this year, right? And there's already some sessions being planned, right? And I know the COVID guys, and again, I'll plug these guys in, right? I think the COVID Safe Paths apps is very critical for our industry, right? It's a really great app. It's real world. The guys are engaging. We add value to them. So I think, we got some nice brownie points with that community. And it's something that we don't do enough in security. We don't work enough with open source projects to make them better, which actually is a win-win situation, because it gives us real world examples of the stuff that we talk about, right? And I know, for the ones of you who are consultants or work with, on some of the systems, right, or internally, it's so frustrating to solve a problem and then not be able to share it, right? And then you keep talking about the same thing over and over again, right? Because you just can't, move on, because, what you've done in one environment, suddenly you have to start almost from scratch on the next one, right? So let's continue with that project. And also, look, it's needed, right? Like here we are joking about, or tragically about next year if it's going to happen, right? I think creating apps is an important element, and the governments are screwing it up, right? And I much prefer an open source app, with right principles, focus on security, to be the one that gains mass adoption, right? Better than the other ones. So,
Dennis, I'm really sorry I missed the app threat modeling session, and I'd love to have been in on that. Just wanted to chip in something. There's been some recent reports about how Estonia has had a really kind of low-tech app approach. I don't know if you've read this stuff. So Estonia is obviously considered to be one of the most advanced digital economies in the world. But when they used their advanced thinking about what was needed, they realised the most important app wasn't so much a tracking app like we're trying to do here in the UK or other countries have done. What was really important was an app to make for smooth communications between the professionals, so that as soon as a professional had done a diagnosis, they could put that authoritative information into the app, and it went to notify people, and it went into the official statistics. So it was a very integrated but very low tech, and it was all based on official data. And then they did another app which was around symptom tracking, but it was you come up with your symptoms. So a lot of the stuff they've done there was just clear thinking. It wasn't getting into this Bluetooth low energy stuff where the way Apple works is different from the way Google works, and you have to overcome all these technical barriers. They just went straight to what works, and I think sometimes we've got to just keep that in mind, like what works. Another thing, I've mentioned it before, was about New Zealand. So New Zealand realised that a way of getting close to a localised measurement of how much COVID there was in the environment was to sample the sewage. And if you sampled the sewage, you could get this population measure for how much COVID there was in a particular locality. So again, I think we've got to be really open-minded about what apps we're creating.
No, I think it's spot on. And by the way, these
There's,
guys I think have a really cool approach because they're not using GPS. They use they're not using Bluetooth. They're using GPS tracking. So the app basically works by you walk around with the app. It records every 5 minutes where you are, and the data stays on your app. And only if you have been diagnosed as a patient, you work with a health authority with a tracer, and then you upload the data. You clean up some of the data, and then you publish it. And then there's this anonymized data set, or kind of as much anonymized or that you can be, which is just literally location information that then everybody downloads, and then it's the phone that tells you if you're in or not. So I think when we look at some of the other COVID apps, it did look like massive over-engineer and massive centralized databases, right? Where I think these guys have a really cool approach, which is basically all the data stays in the phone, and then you only download this sort of nationwide or local or anonymized data set of where infection points have occurred. So I think it's a pretty good model, and from a security point of view, solves tons of problems.
On the sewage side of things, there was a headline today that Italy found it. Italy have gone back through some of their older sewage samples and found it circulating in early indicators in December. So if countries have historical water samples from particular times, certainly from the historical record, it's going to be very interesting to see where and when it popped up.
So it's really could be a leading indicator if you put the right measurements in place.
Yeah.
Actually, we should continue this, but I think are we?
Yes, agreed.
Everybody
Sorry.
On our recording session. I think we got everybody, right?
So I think we have done everyone here right now. We lost Dario because it's probably very late where he is, but he's one of the hardworking team members as well.
He did great work. So yeah, just on recording, this is just an amazing summit, and I see you actually on the next event, and then next year.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.